Have you ever wondered what would push a person who seemingly has it all, wealth, power, and influence, to make a decision as drastic as marrying a complete stranger? It's not the kind of story you hear every day, yet it's a question that forces us to confront the unexpected twists of life. After all, we're all driven by something deeper than what meets the eye. But what happens when those deeper desires lead to choices that defy logic? Today, we delve into the incredible story of Alex Carter, a self-made millionaire whose life was a picture of success. From his opulent penthouse to the boardrooms he dominated, Alex epitomized ambition and achievement. But beneath the surface of his seemingly perfect life, there was a void, a loneliness he couldn't shake, a yearning for something real that his wealth couldn't buy. And then, one day, a peculiar opportunity presented itself, a chance to marry a stranger under circumstances that no one, including Alex, could predict. What would lead a man so meticulous, so calculated, to take such a leap into the unknown? Was it desperation, curiosity, or something far more profound that even he couldn't explain at the time? The story of Alex is not just about wealth or the decision to marry someone he didn't know. It's about the universal search for meaning, connection, and fulfillment in a world that often confuses success with happiness. It's about facing fear, embracing vulnerability, and realizing that the most unexpected decisions sometimes hold the greatest rewards. So, as we begin this journey, ask yourself, what would you do if faced with a choice that could redefine everything you thought you knew about life, love, and yourself? Alex Carter's life was a masterclass in ambition and achievement. Born into a modest family in a quiet suburban neighborhood, Alex was the quintessential underdog. He built his fortune from the ground up, starting with a small tech startup that blossomed into a billion-dollar empire. By the age of 35, he was gracing magazine covers, speaking at global summits, and rubbing shoulders with the world's elite. On the surface, Alex had it all: luxury cars, lavish vacations, and a sprawling mansion perched on the hills with a panoramic view of the city. His life was a dream many envied, but few understood the price he had paid. The long hours, the sleepless nights, and the constant pressure to stay ahead had consumed him. Yet, there was one thing money couldn't fix: loneliness. Despite his successes, Alex had no one to share them with. His personal relationships had always taken a back seat to his career. Romantic connections were fleeting, and his friends often joked that he was married to his work. What they didn't realize was how deeply that joke resonated with him. Late at night, Alex often found himself staring out of his penthouse windows, gazing at the city lights. He wondered if this was it. Was success just a never-ending climb to the top, with no one beside you when you got there? The questions gnawed at him, but the answers seemed out of reach. One evening, as he scrolled through emails in his home office, a peculiar message caught his eye. The subject line read, "A life-changing opportunity awaits." Curious, Alex opened it. The email was from a prestigious matchmaking agency known for arranging unconventional unions. But this wasn't an ordinary matchmaking service. It proposed something far more radical: a legally binding marriage with a stranger based on compatibility metrics that supposedly surpassed any traditional relationship model. At first, Alex dismissed it as a scam. The idea was absurd. Marrying a stranger? It sounded like a plot from a reality TV show. But something about the email lingered in his mind. He couldn't stop thinking about it. Why had this landed in his inbox? And why now, at a time when he felt most adrift? Days turned into weeks, and the thought refused to leave him. Eventually, he decided to reach out. Not because he believed in the concept, but because he was desperate for something to shake him out of his monotony. If nothing else, it would be an interesting story to tell. When Alex met with the agency's representatives, he was surprised by how professional and sophisticated the process was. They weren't promising love or even happiness, but rather a connection built on shared goals, mutual respect, and complementary strengths. The candidates were carefully vetted, and the entire process was designed to minimize risk while maximizing compatibility. It was the ultimate leap of faith, but Alex couldn't deny the appeal. He had tried everything else: dating apps, blind dates, even setting up his own dating schedule, but nothing had worked. Maybe this unconventional route was exactly what he needed. As he signed the initial paperwork, Alex felt a mix of excitement and terror. He was stepping into uncharted territory, leaving behind the carefully controlled life he had built. The stakes were high, but so was his curiosity. What would happen next? The day Alex was introduced to the stranger who would become his spouse was unlike anything he had ever experienced. The meeting was arranged at an exclusive, neutral venue, a quiet garden cafe nestled away from prying eyes. Alex arrived early, nerves bubbling beneath his composed exterior. He wasn't a man accustomed to uncertainty, but this situation was unlike any boardroom negotiation or corporate deal. When she walked in, Alex immediately felt his breath catch. She was nothing like he expected. Her name was Emma, a writer and nonprofit worker who had spent most of her life advocating for causes she believed in. Unlike the polished, high-society women Alex had encountered before, Emma exuded an effortless authenticity. She wasn't intimidated by Alex's wealth or status, and her grounded nature intrigued him. Their first conversation was equal parts awkward and fascinating. Emma, too, was skeptical of the arrangement but admitted she had her reasons for taking the leap. Sometimes, she said, her voice calm but steady, life doesn't give you clear answers, so you have to create your own. Her words lingered in Alex's mind as their meeting progressed. They talked about everything from their families to their wildly different career paths. Emma shared stories about her time working in rural communities, her passion for storytelling, and her belief that every person had a purpose worth pursuing. For someone who had spent his life chasing external success, Alex found Emma's perspective refreshing. Still, doubt hovered like a shadow. Alex couldn't shake the question gnawing at him. Why would someone like her agree to something so unconventional? He finally worked up the courage to ask. Emma smiled, her eyes meeting his without hesitation. Because I'm tired of waiting for the perfect circumstances. I've spent so much of my life putting other people first, my family, my work, and I've realized that if I keep waiting, I'll miss my own chance at happiness. Her honesty hit Alex harder than he expected. He saw in her a reflection of his own struggles, the sacrifices, the loneliness, and the fear of taking risks that didn't come with guarantees. Over the next few weeks, Alex and Emma were given time to get to know each other before finalizing their decision. The agency had strict guidelines, ensuring both parties were comfortable and aligned in their expectations. They attended counseling sessions, filled out compatibility exercises, and were encouraged to have open conversations about their values, goals, and fears. Though their worlds couldn't have been more different, Alex found himself opening up to Emma in a way he never had with anyone else. She wasn't impressed by his money or accomplishments, but by the glimpses of vulnerability he rarely allowed others to see. In turn, Emma began to trust Alex, realizing that beneath his stoic exterior was someone who craved connection just as much as she did. But the journey wasn't without its challenges. Alex was a man of logic and structure, while Emma thrived on spontaneity and creativity. Their differences led to moments of tension, like when Alex questioned Emma's laid-back approach to planning or when Emma pushed back against his need for control. One evening, after a particularly heated argument about their future plans, Alex found himself pacing his living room, his mind racing. What if this doesn't work? He wondered. What if we're too different? The next day, Alex decided to address the tension head-on. He invited Emma to his home for dinner, determined to clear the air. Over a simple meal, he admitted his fears. I've spent my entire life chasing certainty, he confessed, but this feels like walking a tightrope without a safety net. Emma listened intently before responding. Maybe that's the point, Alex. Life isn't about guarantees. It's about taking chances and trusting yourself to figure things out along the way. Her words resonated deeply with Alex. For the first time, he began to see their differences not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. Emma challenged him to embrace uncertainty, while he encouraged her to find structure in her dreams. Slowly but surely, they began to bridge the gap between their worlds. As their connection deepened, Alex started to notice subtle changes in himself. He found himself looking forward to their conversations, seeking Emma's perspective on matters he would have once handled alone. He even began to revisit some of the dreams he had buried beneath the weight of his responsibilities, like traveling the world or writing a book about his journey. Emma, too, experienced a transformation. Alex's drive and determination inspired her to take bolder steps in her own career, pursuing projects she had previously deemed too ambitious. Together, they became a team, each pushing the other to grow in ways neither had anticipated. Finally, the day came for them to decide. Would they move forward with the marriage or walk away? The decision day arrived, carrying with it a strange mix of tension and excitement. Alex stood in the conference room of the matchmaking agency, dressed in his signature tailored suit, a picture of composure to anyone who didn't know him well. But inside, he was anything but calm. His mind buzzed with questions. Was he making the right decision? Was Emma truly someone he could build a life with? Or was this just another impulsive move driven by his growing dissatisfaction with his otherwise perfect life? Emma arrived a few minutes later, dressed simply yet elegantly, her confidence masking her own apprehension. Their eyes met across the room, and for a brief moment, Alex felt a sense of calm. It was as if she had become an anchor for him in the middle of his storm of uncertainties. The agency representatives began the formalities, presenting them with a final contract and asking if they were both ready to proceed. Alex glanced at Emma, searching for a sign, a clue to her thoughts. But before he could overanalyze, Emma spoke. "I'm ready," she said, her voice steady yet soft. Her certainty jolted something inside Alex. She had taken the leap without hesitation, not because she was reckless, but because she believed in the potential of what they could build together. For Alex, it was a wake-up call. He realized that all his life, he had been waiting for guarantees, for the perfect conditions to act, while Emma had already embraced the reality that life's beauty lay in its unpredictability. With a deep breath, Alex nodded. "I'm ready too." The contract was signed, and just like that, they were officially married, two strangers bound together by a leap of faith. Their first few weeks as a married couple were a whirlwind. They decided to start fresh by moving into a shared space, a cozy townhouse that was neither as extravagant as Alex's penthouse nor as modest as Emma's apartment. It was a compromise, a middle ground where they could build their new life together. At first, the adjustment was overwhelming. Alex's structured, high-pressure lifestyle clashed with Emma's laid-back, spontaneous approach to life. One evening, Alex came home after a grueling day at work to find Emma rearranging their living room furniture on a whim. "What's wrong with how it was?" Alex asked, exhaustion lacing his tone. Emma shrugged with a playful smile. "I just thought we could try something new. It felt a little too stiff." Alex sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Not everything needs to change all the time, Emma. Sometimes it's okay to stick to what works." Emma paused, her smile fading slightly. "And sometimes, Alex, change is exactly what we need to grow." The argument didn't escalate, but it left Alex reflecting on her words later that night. It wasn't just about the furniture. It was about how they approached life. For Emma, change was an opportunity. For Alex, it was a risk. But wasn't this marriage itself the biggest risk he had ever taken? The turning point came during a weekend retreat organized by the matchmaking agency, a program designed to help couples deepen their understanding of each other. The retreat included exercises meant to strengthen communication, trust, and empathy. One activity, in particular, stood out. Each person was asked to share their deepest fear with their partner, something they had never told anyone before. Alex hesitated as the room fell silent, the weight of his vulnerability pressing down on him. Finally, he spoke. "I'm afraid of failing," Alex admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "Not just in business, but in life. I've spent so much time building this image of success that I don't know who I am without it. And I'm terrified that one day, it'll all fall apart, and I'll have nothing left." Emma reached for his hand, her eyes filled with understanding. "Alex," she said softly, "you're so much more than your achievements. Success isn't about what you have. It's about who you are. And from where I'm sitting, you're already more than enough." Her words hit Alex like a bolt of lightning. In that moment, he realized how much he had been carrying. Years of pressure, perfectionism, and fear of failure. Emma's acceptance of him, flaws and all, was unlike anything he had ever experienced. When it was Emma's turn to share, she revealed her own fear. "I'm afraid of losing myself," she said. "I've spent so much of my life trying to please everyone else that I sometimes forget who I am. In this marriage, it scares me because I don't want to disappear into someone else's world. I need to know that I can still be me." Alex squeezed her hand, his voice firm. "You don't have to lose yourself, Emma. I want you to be you, just like you're helping me learn to be myself. This isn't about one of us bending to fit the other. It's about finding a way to grow together." That weekend marked a turning point in their relationship. They returned home with a newfound sense of clarity and commitment. Instead of focusing on their differences, they began to celebrate them. Alex started embracing Emma's spontaneity, finding joy in the little adventures she planned, like impromptu road trips or quiet evenings painting in their living room. Emma, in turn, began to appreciate Alex's structured approach to life. She started setting goals for herself, inspired by his determination and focus. Together, they created a balance, a partnership where their strengths complemented each other and their weaknesses became opportunities for growth. The turning point wasn't just about their marriage. It was about their individual transformations. For Alex, it was the realization that success didn't have to come at the expense of connection. For Emma, it was the understanding that she could pursue her dreams without losing herself in the process. With their newfound clarity and commitment, Alex and Emma began navigating their marriage with fresh determination. However, the road ahead was far from smooth. While they had made progress, life still had a way of testing their resolve. The first major challenge arose when Alex faced an unexpected crisis at his company. A critical product launch was delayed due to technical issues, and the media quickly jumped on the story, questioning his leadership. Investors were nervous, and the pressure on Alex to salvage the situation was immense. For the first time in years, Alex felt the weight of his old fears creeping back. He began working long hours again, retreating into the safety of his meticulously organized routines. Emma noticed the change almost immediately. "You've barely said 2 words to me all week," she said one evening as Alex sat hunched over his laptop in their shared home office. "I'm handling it," Alex replied curtly, not looking up. Emma's brow furrowed. "I thought we agreed to face things together. You don't have to go through this alone, Alex." "I'm not going through it alone," he said, his tone sharper than he intended. "I'm just doing what needs to be done." Emma sighed, frustrated but unwilling to push him further in that moment. Instead, she quietly retreated, giving Alex the space he seemed to need. As the weeks went by, the distance between them grew. Alex was consumed by his work, while Emma felt increasingly isolated. But rather than letting the situation fester, she decided to take action. One evening, Emma planned a surprise dinner at home. She cooked Alex's favorite meal, set the table with candles, and left a note on his desk that read, "Take a break. I'll be waiting in the dining room." When Alex walked into the room, he was taken aback by the effort Emma had put in. For the first time in weeks, he saw the toll his behavior had taken on her. "I'm sorry," he said quietly as they sat down to eat. "I didn't mean to shut you out. I didn't want you to see me struggling." Emma reached across the table, taking his hand in hers. "Alex, you don't have to be perfect for me. I want to be here for you. But I can't do that if you keep building walls." Her words hit him deeply. He realized that his instinct to handle everything alone, something that had served him well in business, was damaging his marriage. It was a humbling moment, but it also marked the start of a shift. From that point on, Alex began to let Emma into his world. He shared his concerns about the company crisis, and together, they brainstormed ways to navigate the challenges. Emma's fresh perspective and creativity proved invaluable, helping Alex see solutions he might have overlooked. In return, Alex began to take a more active interest in Emma's work. He encouraged her to pursue a passion project she had been putting off, a documentary highlighting the lives of underrepresented communities. While Emma initially hesitated, Alex's belief in her abilities gave her the confidence to move forward. Their support for each other became a cornerstone of their relationship. But as they grew stronger as a couple, new external challenges emerged. Emma's documentary project took her to remote locations for weeks at a time, testing the limits of their communication and patience. Meanwhile, Alex's company regained its footing, but the demands of his leadership role remained unrelenting. One particularly tough period came when Emma was away filming, and Alex faced a major deadline for an upcoming project. They struggled to stay connected, their phone calls often brief and strained. "I miss you," Emma said during one late-night call. "I miss you too," Alex replied, though his voice sounded distant. "I feel like we're slipping back into old habits," she admitted. Alex sighed. "I know. It's just hard right now. But we'll figure it out, Emma. We always do." Despite their reassurances, both of them felt the weight of the distance. It wasn't until Emma returned home a few weeks later that they sat down to address the issue. "We need to set boundaries," Emma said firmly, "for our work and for each other. Otherwise, we'll keep repeating the same patterns." Alex agreed, and together, they created a plan. They scheduled dedicated time for each other, no matter how busy their lives became. Whether it was a weekly date night or a simple morning coffee together, they prioritized their relationship in ways they hadn't before. Their efforts began to pay off. The boundaries they set not only strengthened their bond, but also improved their individual productivity and well-being. Alex learned to delegate more at work, trusting his team to handle responsibilities he previously shouldered alone. Emma, meanwhile, found balance in her creative pursuits, ensuring her passion for storytelling didn't come at the expense of her marriage. Through these challenges, Alex and Emma grew not only as a couple, but also as individuals. Alex became more open and vulnerable, allowing himself to lean on Emma when he needed support. Emma, in turn, became more confident in asserting her needs and pursuing her dreams without fear of losing herself. By the end of that year, both Alex and Emma had achieved milestones they never thought possible, not just in their respective careers but in their relationship. Their journey had been far from perfect, but it was precisely their imperfections that made them stronger. Months after their whirlwind journey began, Alex and Emma found themselves in a place they hadn't anticipated: contentment. Their marriage, which had started as an unorthodox leap of faith, had blossomed into a partnership built on trust, resilience, and a shared vision for the future. One evening, as they sat together on their townhouse balcony overlooking the city skyline, Alex turned to Emma with a thoughtful expression. "Do you remember the first day we met at the agency?" he asked, his voice tinged with nostalgia. Emma smiled, her eyes sparkling in the soft glow of the city lights. "How could I forget? You looked at me like you were analyzing a business deal." Alex chuckled. "And you looked at me like you were trying to figure out why anyone would agree to something so crazy." They laughed, their shared memories serving as a testament to how far they had come. In the time since their marriage, Alex and Emma had both achieved transformations that extended far beyond their relationship. Alex had finally found a balance between his career and personal life, a feat he once thought impossible. By trusting his team and focusing on what truly mattered, he discovered a sense of freedom and fulfillment that no amount of success could buy. Emma, too, had undergone a profound change. Her documentary project had been a resounding success, earning critical acclaim for its heartfelt storytelling. More importantly, she had found her voice, no longer afraid to assert her desires or embrace her individuality. Their life together wasn't perfect. There were still disagreements, moments of doubt, and challenges to overcome. But now, those moments only strengthened their bond. They had learned to navigate the ups and downs as a team, always coming back to the values they had built their relationship on: honesty, respect, and an unwavering commitment to growth. For Alex and Emma, the greatest lesson of their journey was that love isn't about finding someone who completes you. It's about finding someone who inspires you to become your best self. Alex learned that vulnerability wasn't a weakness but a strength, one that allowed him to connect with Emma on a deeper level than he ever thought possible. He discovered that true success wasn't measured by accolades or wealth, but by the quality of the relationships he nurtured. Emma, on the other hand, realized that love didn't mean losing yourself to someone else's world. It meant finding someone who celebrated your individuality and encouraged you to chase your dreams, even when the path wasn't easy. Together, They proved that even the most unlikely partnerships could flourish when built on mutual respect, understanding, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. As their story unfolded, it became clear that their journey wasn't just about love. It was about transformation. And in that sense, their story is one that resonates with anyone who has ever faced a crossroads in life. So, ask yourself, what risks are you willing to take for the life you truly want? Are you open to embracing the unexpected, even if it means stepping outside your comfort zone? Because, as Alex and Emma discovered, sometimes the greatest rewards come from the choices that scare us the most. As they sat together on the balcony that evening, Alex reached for Emma's hand, a sense of gratitude washing over him. "Thank you," he said simply. "For what?" Emma asked, tilting her head curiously. "For teaching me how to live," Alex replied, his voice soft but resolute. "For showing me what really matters." Emma squeezed his hand, her smile warm and genuine. "And thank you," she said, "for taking that leap with me. I think we both needed it more than we realized." In the end, their story was a reminder that life's most beautiful moments often come from the unexpected. It wasn't the plan they had envisioned, but it was the one that changed their lives forever.